Thank you for the organizer, the moderator, and every participant in this conference. I hope that we will increase our knowledge from participation in this conference. My name is Dr. Ali Kareem from Iraq. I am a lecturer at the Ministry of Education in Iraq, and I am here to present my paper, Black Atheist Aspects of Communism in Langston Hughes Selected Poems. This paper, I will start with the introduction to give a background for my study. Communism is a term that refers to the effect of capitalism on society, which brings inequality and suffering of a powerless group of people. Racism and the social inequality play an effective role in the United States, where Black people suffer for centuries till the present time because the religious institutions that exploit Black people under the umbrella of religion. Many writers and activists attempt to call for a protest to overcome oppression of injustice system, and among of those activists is Langston Hughes, who called for the improvement of the corrupted religious institutions of the white society. Langston Hughes' poems emphasize that a dream can be fulfilled in case if Black people united and fight for achieving their dreams, which means which means the American dream, because there is a link between the American dream and Langston Hughes' poems. This paper, this paper also focuses on the questions of how Langston Hughes believed in communism as the only strategy to overcome discrimination and social segregation, and why he adopted communism in uh, his as well as poems. Hughes regarded communism as a chance to bring communities with all their differences together. Furthermore, he believed that communism is the only way to achieve justice, freedom, and his dreams beside the dreams of all Black people. Hughes was being considered the most considerable and controversial poet in the first half of the 20th century in the United States. Arnold Rampersad, the autobiographer of Langston Hughes, explained that Hughes was possibly the most original of African American poets, and variety of his work assuredly the most representative of African American writers. Langston Hughes was best known for his participation in the literary movement, the Harlem Renaissance in 1920, due to the number of rising Black writers in this poetry, and Langston Hughes was one of them. The racial boundaries of African or of American society had been questioned by Langston Hughes, and he had become an icon in the struggle for equality of rights. Focusing on racial equality was repeatedly theme in African American writers, especially Langston Hughes, and his poems steered the issue of equality. It came from his personal experiences and symbolizing his ideology on the race issue, which he had experienced and changed his lifestyle. According to Henry Gates, Langston Hughes was active in social and political issues by using his poetry as a vehicle for cultural protest and fighting social segregation with his writing. The objective of Langston Hughes' poems is to display how various economic, political, and social factors have affected Hughes' ideology in writing different sorts of poems, consisting of communist trends and influences in America. The Black people had faced a harsh treatment from whites in the field of laboring since generations till the present day time. This unfair dealing with the Black colored people urged Hughes to portray his suffering as a Black man in his poems, One More S in the USA, Ballads of Lenin, As I Grow Older, Democracy, Goodbye Christ, and Justice. Also, these poems prove how communism created a religious tension which made him or made Hughes deny all his beliefs in Jesus Christ. The first section in my paper is Hughes's communist trends. In this section, I will focus on some poems and analyze them under the umbrella of communism. Communism is a doctrine that aims to establish equality and balance in society, uh, as well as the fair distribution of the wealth and natural resources of society. Hughes believed in communism as a savior structure that enhances equality and looking for eliminating social distinction. This policy, this policy, which had been adopted by Langston Hughes, came with poor outcome due to this ingenious strategy, like what had happened to the Soviet Union when poverty became so widespread because rebellions had resulted in the disintegration of the Union. The first poem to start with is One More S in the USA, which was published in 1934. In this poem, Langston Hughes revealed the objective of to call for a revolution in America and change the social hierarchy in this country and making it another Soviet. Hughes wrote, when the land belongs to the farmers and the factories to the working men, the USA, when we take control, will be the USSA then. The repetition of the S here is to refer to the Soviet Union, and that means that Hughes wanted to change the social hierarchy of the United States to make it like the Soviet Union. In this poem, also Hughes predicated that tomorrow will be for black people when they will get their full rights as whites. He was certain that the situation will be changed and the social status of the black individual will be amended rather than to be discriminated and live in poverty. Preoccupying with the soul of communism also could be seen in his language expressions and theme in the poem Ballads of Lenin, which was published in 1938. In this poem, Hughes spoke through the persona of a peasant, and to him, a peasant is a low-level class. By describing a worker who works hard in muddy soil, attempts to achieve a social status in the American society. In this poem, Hughes said, I fought with you, Comrade Lenin. And this word, Comrade Lenin, is repeatedly used by the members of the Communist Party. I am Chico, the Negro, I lived for you, Comrade Lenin. Now my work is done. That means that Langston Hughes used communism in order to finish or in order to complete his work and to be understood and acceptable for the workers and the poor people. Also, the fantasy of Russia as a racial heaven was maybe one of its best, both as a dream to Afro-American writers over the diaspora and a technique in the African American struggle for political acknowledgement and recognizing their rights. Hughes inferred that the Soviet Union was simply part of a long journey of Black imaginative and political rebellion. He attempted to describe the circumstances of Black people in the shades of racism and social discrimination. His poetry has implied the lives of the working class, especially Blacks in America, whom he portrayed in full of struggle, joy, and music. He came with different style to assert his position in society as an artist and an activist. According to John Smithurst, what is formally more interesting regarding Hughes' poetry in the 1930s is the wide variety of voices, styles, and themes in the late 1920 and early 1930. The other poem to mention here is As I Grow Older, which was published in 1925. In this poem, Hughes emphasized the idea of his dream that doesn't being accomplished because of racism and segregation. He described the darkness surrounded him like a thick wall that preventing him from achieving his dream. Perceiving Hughes' poem, being black or from the working class, it is an undesirable life because it is life without fulfilling one's dreams or hopes. In this poem, Hughes stated, "It was a long time ago. I have almost forgotten my dream, but it was there then, in front of me, bright like a sun, my dream." The other point to discuss here is Democracy, was published in 1949. In this poem, Hughes showed a sense of pessimism in which freedom will not be achieved now, but maybe in the future. It is obvious that Hughes is emphasized on the meaning of equality and sharing rights among people. In this poem, he said, "Democracy will not come today, this year, nor ever. I want freedom just as you." This word, I make it bold, you, to refer to the white man, because according to Langston Hughes' poem, the black man doesn't or didn't have freedom till the present time like the white man. Also, he used his poetry and prose as a vehicle to clarify the beauty of colored people, their strength and suffering. The other section to discuss here, the religious tensions in Hughes's poetry. By taking a closer look at the poetry of Langston Hughes, and especially some of his poems like Goodbye Christ, etc., we can see that there is a popular usage of religion within his poetry. First of all, evangelist Amy Symbol Macpherson denounced Hughes from her Angelus temple pulpit, as she said, or regarded him as a radical and antichrist because of his poem Goodbye Christ that was published in 1932. She explained that some critics criticized Hughes' poem to be or as if it were written by a new devil with a black color, referring to the poet. She said, "There are many devils among us, but the most dangerous of all is the red devil. And now there come among us a red devil in black skin," referring to the poet who is Langston Hughes. In this poem, Langston Hughes said, "Listen, Christ, you did all right in your day, I reckon, but that day is gone now. Goodbye, Christ, Jesus, Lord God, Jehovah. Beat it on away from here now. Make way for a new guy with no religion at all. A real guy named Marcus, Communist, Lenin, Peasant, Stalin, welcome me. You are getting in the way of things, Lord." In these lines, he uses present the replacement of Christianity and saints to exchange them with communist symbols. He concentrated on these communist aspects as solution for his way of being as a workman, and no one will sell him. This poem, Goodbye Christ, has created controversial discussion regarding Hughes' political efficacy of poetry and the position of Christianity in America. Many critics regarded this poem as a restatement of Hughes' atheism or an indication of his membership in the Communist Party. Through his poem, Hughes questioned God and why black people were chosen to be burdened with the task of striving for social, economic, and moral acceptance and understanding. Hughes' censure for the distressing condition of life in America came as a significant doubt of religion, especially toward those individuals who utilized Christianity as a shroud to conceal their harsh activities and atrocities against the black people. This poem most repeatedly delivers Hughes' demeanor at that point, and through this poem he released his expressions of outrage, sharpness against the policy of the government, which clarify his political stance. The last poem to be discussed here is Hughes' poem Justice, which was published in 1938. which depicted the absence of justice in the presence of the corrupted religious institutions that exploited the black individuals with several aspects of racism. Hughes asserted this impact when he compared justice to blind goddess. He said that justice is a blind goddess, is a thing to which we black are wise. Her bandage hides to festering sores. Here, festering sores means that there will be a revolution from the black people against the injustice system of the American society. Sorry. The poet portrayed the life of the Afro-Americans lacking justice by indicating that there will be a revolution which will remove the corrupt religious institutions and clergymen. He believed that revolt against such mess is the solution for his people to obtain equal rights. Hughes claimed that Marxism and the symbols of communism will replace Christianity because where religion used and has been marketed for greed. I conclude in this paper that Hughes reflected the aspects of communism by calling for communism as a perspective expressed through his call for equality and wealth share among people. Also, many politicians of the United States expressed this perspective as a communist trend, so that Hughes was accused of being a communist and atheist for adopting the communist aspects and goals. And here I refer to the McCarthyism or McCarthy Committee that enforced Hughes to confess publicly and formally that he wasn't a part of the Communist Party. Also, I conclude that Hughes explained his appeal of communism because of the political and social marginalization of the black people. His poem beseeched the African Americans to replace Christianity and religious institutions for the sake of communism to assure the rights of a black man in America. We can infer that it is safe to say that Hughes may be or may believe in communism as an outlet for the miserable state of black people in America, but he was never one of the communist party. Thank you for your hearing, for watching, and for listening for me. And now I can receive questions in order to answer. And last but not least, I would like to thank the organizer, the moderator, for this opportunity to visit my paper. And I hope all the participants in this conference are in good health, their family, and all the world. Thank you.